What's up, everybody? It's finally Friday. And maybe, just maybe, I will finish the roof in the next 2 days. That was supposed to be, well, first of all, it was a highly misjudged and miscalculated project, obviously. But hopefully I can get it done in the next, it was supposed to be 3 days. We had a long weekend last week, and it was supposed to be 3 days. And now I'm on day, 6? Yeah, day 6. It's going to be a full 7 days. Not cool, man. Not cool. If anyone is here on the page, let me know that you can hear me. Let me know that everything's up and running. That'd be awesome. I see it on my page, but want to make sure everybody else can see me and hear me. How was everybody's week? Anybody do anything fun? Anybody doing anything fun this weekend? I got one of my youngest son is home from school today, sitting in here with me. So if you hear him or you he might actually just run the thing today. He may be giving all of the trade advice today. Maybe better than mine. So we'll see what happens. Dude, you want to say hi to everybody?
Yeah.
Say hi. Just say hi, everybody.
Hi, everybody.
We'll give it a minute or 2 more minutes and let people show up and get situated if they want to join. Just going to do the wrap up this week. Just going through everything. I think that let me get the ones off of here that we aren't using. I think overall, what am I missing? Oh, EuroGB. Why is that not on here? I think overall we did pretty good on. Where did it go? I think we did fairly decent on our trades. The UCAD trade right now is looking, it's looking okay, kind of iffy. It's pulling back. Just have to see how it ends up. Like Romeo said in the chat, poor CAD numbers and oil kind of working its way back down a little bit may hurt us, but we got to take it. It's in the stack. I'd love to see the 4-hour continuation. And we'll get into that more in a few minutes. But all right. So let me start out. Any questions before we get moving any further? Any questions on the new trade setup, like with the moving averages or anything that we're doing up to this point before I really get into how we did this week? Cool. Well, if you have questions, let me know. Sorry I have to wait so long on that. Sometimes it has a big delay and I want to make sure. Cool. All right, so let's jump in. Here's how we're looking on Euro this week. Let's see, when did the week start? I should have put that in. So this is the week start right here. Basically, I think we did everything that we needed to do on this pair. I chose not to put in levels trades because I didn't, between this formation, okay, and the way it was acting down inside the 20 and 34, I just didn't feel like it was time to be working the longs. Turned out to be right, and now we're in a switch over to some sell trades possibly, but nothing is set up since this has happened, right? I mean, it's been extremely difficult to find any sell trades on this back towards the 200. So, you know, I don't feel like I missed anything on it. Just being patient with it and seeing what happens. I do think that overall the chances of hitting the 200 right now are fairly decent. Once that happens, we will have to see how it reacts, because many times it will hit the 200, bounce, and then recross and move back up, or it can just drive through the 200 and continue down. So 200 is fair value. We're trying to get it back to fair value and let this thing reset and see what happens. One thing you will note on euro right now is the 110.60 level. Okay, some people are saying it's the 110.70. I'm saying it's the 110.60. All right, this level is being defended. There's nobody wants it to go down there. Okay, if you move it up to right there, I mean 110.65 maybe. All right, but I really think that you're going to see a drive of 110.60 at some point. Okay, and if that's what's going to take it down to the 200. All right, but in terms of levels trades right now, there's not a whole lot we can do. So we'll just keep watching it. Pound. This one, like I said in the email, I apologize for being vague on the stop loss on this one. Okay, it missed my order by 6 pips. I don't know if anybody, I doubt anybody got it, or if they did, if they put any stop loss into it. But I won't do that again. My thinking on it, okay, is that in these situations, it's kind of dynamic. All right. Do I really want a stop loss this far above an order, 120 pips? It's not my favorite thing to do. Can we risk adjust it and size it properly? Absolutely. But I really wanted to be able to get a stop. And this is my fault. And I was distracted this week, and things have been unbelievably ridiculously stupid with that project that I have going. And I wasn't thinking clearly, but the idea is to get the order and then to set the stop loss based on sort of where that high comes in. And that doesn't always work, right? It could just drive through it and then we're screwed. You could put the stop loss here initially, and this changes, a lot of what we talked about. And I understand that. And, I'm not going to go any deeper into it than what we're doing right now, but you could set your doomsday stop loss at that 120 pips, let the order get taken, and then move it, down to this high on the moving averages, right? Because we really, at that point, we don't want it to cross this. Now, the order wasn't taken, and it's all sort of a moot point right now anyway. But that's what I was thinking, okay? And I didn't get that out clearly. I do think that we will see some continuation. Okay, I think 4-hour continuation here is probably a relatively reasonable thing to think. So at this point, if you want to go some short-term trades on it, you could do it. But in terms of levels, there's really not, I guess we could have been working on. Oops, what am I doing? If this fractals, we could potentially be working on this, but and try and get a 786 or an 886 on it. But it's really tight. It's super tight right there, and difficult to get into. So, any questions on that? Does that sort of clear up what I was thinking about this week on that trade? I know it was vague and stupid and ridiculous, but I hope that at least clears it up a little bit and makes some sense as to what I was doing. So, yeah, that's what I see on that one. Not a ton to do right now. Do I feel like we missed anything? Not really. Okay, where'd our week start? Right here. Yeah, I mean, this was our one move, and it missed it by a few pips, and And I really don't think that there was much else that we could have done on a levels basis with that pair. So odd dollar. I don't. We didn't miss anything on this one as far as I'm concerned. All right, we're sitting at fair value, and not a lot that that we could have done on a levels basis with this. Okay, I sort of put out in the chat room, I think this morning, you know, this was potentially something that could have been interesting, but I mean, even if we do that, do you see how it drives those wicks and then comes back? Okay, this is very common around, and we'll see it on odd New Zealand too in a few minutes, but this is very common on range bound plays, right? Anything that's near fair value, they're going to be running wicks and you know, for instance, this wick here, okay, they ran that and then dropped it back and then ran this, okay. See how they ran this high right here and then dropped it back, and now they're running this low and taking it back. It's the churn, okay. It's they're just driving through those orders and trapping people basically, right? I mean, you see it here. You got a low, a run of the low, a drive up. This one didn't make it down, so that's why I have my line here and my line here, because those are the two outward, you know, sort of bounds of the range that haven't been taken yet. So possibly breakouts from either of those sides on a 4-hour chart right now. We just don't know which way it's going to go, right? And that would be like Euro back in this area. Okay, remember when we were here and we kept seeing these moves back and forth and you know, taking wicks and trying to get people to pick directions before it was time to pick directions, and then once it actually picked its direction, there were some good trades to take. So that's kind of what we're looking for on both odd. Okay, I don't feel like we missed anything on odd and on New Zealand. This is obviously stuck and not really anything that has been attractive to me to trade on this week. So I definitely don't think I missed anything on NU. In this case right now, our outer bounds would be somewhere in this area. Okay, 67. You know, to do a 20s on it, you'd have to go all the way up to 67.60, which seems a little crazy right now, but I think that's where I'd put the boundary line, and if you're doing 20s, and then 65.40. Okay, so you know, possibly, let's see, what's 65.60 do? Actually, I like 60 better. I like 60 a lot better. Encapsulates that high and drives this. Okay, so that would be where I would have the range basically right now on New Zealand dollar. If we could find a direction from there, it'd be pretty sweet. But you know, right now, not a lot for us to do. Dollar yen broke down finally. Okay, so now this was the box I was looking for to break out of before I could really do anything with it. And now if we can get a fractal bottom, okay, we'll start, this is how we'll draw the fib. Okay, kind of like this right there. You could either go there or you could go there. I just like to do the most recent one. If it's going to run it, it's going to run it there. I mean, basically what I'm saying is if it runs it here, it's going to run it up at this higher level, right? I mean, that's how I view it anyway. So I'm waiting for some kind of bottom to be put in, some kind of fractal, so that we can get a fib on this. This one would, even if we got the fib there, it wouldn't have given us even a 382 trade. So this is still obviously inside of its initial move, and we're going to be looking for continuations down at this low. Okay, so just got to be a little more patient with it and see what we can find. Dollar CAD. I don't want to be teased by this pair again. Okay, I really like this setup. I think this is an absolutely high quality setup. Okay, if we look at, it gets a little blurry. if we look at the daily chart, okay, we've got a new boss down. All right, we've got a pullback up towards the boss that's inside of this candle. Okay, and I actually really like this, and potentially for a move down to the daily 200 or close. If the daily 200 comes up to 34, okay, I mean we could pull off a 600 or 700 pip trade just if we had these two orders. Okay, and if this thing continues on a 4-hour, okay, then we could probably find more ways to enter. But right now, I'm looking for continuation at this low. All right, this low right here, 36.40. Okay, I'm looking for continuation there. That's the whole point of this trade. I have an entry. I have a reason for entry. I have a stop where I know I'm wrong, and I also have a place where I'm aiming for it to say, okay, if this can happen, I want to be in on this, right? So at this point, I'm not setting any sell stop orders. I'm sort of frustrated with buy and sell stops. It's not something that I'm really enjoying doing. So, if you enjoy it and that's something that you want to do, you could set a sell stop here. But I like being able to control my risk better. I have not been very successful with my buy and sell stops lately. I just haven't been putting a lot of focus into it. So I'm going to keep these orders, and we're going to see if we can find more pullback orders to get if this will move in our direction. So hope that makes sense on dollar CAD. Pound odd, this is what we were looking at this morning. It's basically rejected all of that and is now sitting inside of the 20 and 34. So let's see. What would it have looked like if we would have moved this up? Yeah, I don't know. The fact that I mean, if we just look at this price action, right? We see this bottom or this wick back here at basically 2.0, right? We get a continuation low through 2.0, and then we get rejections at 2.0, and then drive through 2.0, support at 2.0, and now we're working our way back up. Okay, I'm not really sure that I want to be. If this would have broken down, then that would have been pretty sweet. Okay, we could have been trading that. I didn't have any levels on this, but we could have been trading it other ways. But now I'm not 100% certain that I really want to be involved in this on this candle. Okay, I'm not really sure I want to be involved in this fib. And if I extend the fib out at all, it becomes too high of a risk trade for me. So not super excited, especially if we look back at odd and look at, what could, we don't really know what odd's going to do. So it's really hard to, because I always, I base my pound odd and pound New Zealand trades off of odd in New Zealand, not off of pound. Sometimes I run on pound, but it's a little bit more rare. So I try and base them off of those two. And if those two are stuck, it's really hard to get pound odd and pound New Zealand to make, those strong moves. So I thought this was going to be an interesting trade, but it's sort of looking like, this morning I thought it was going to be an interesting opportunity, but now it's just not so interesting for me. Not a lot I want to do there. Pound New Zealand, definitely nothing I want to do since New Zealand is so crappy right now. Here's another look. This is what I was talking about. What was I talking about it? Was it on Euro? I can't remember what I said I was going to make this an example of, but when I set these orders, right? And I was talking about the range. So when I set these orders and then I took them off after this candle, that's because if this is going to make a one move down and go up, I don't want to be a part of it after that happens. Okay, I don't. I want to catch the reversal move and not the 2 or 3 times trying to get into this trade, because You know, it was a long shot in the first place because we had basically a CT look that had already made the 200, right? I think I said that in the video or in the email that it was a long shot trade anyway. But once I saw those or that candle happen and then try and make its way up, I just didn't want to be a part of it at that point. I wanted to catch the reaction move and not try and do anything more. So, you know, now pound or odd New Zealand is back at its 200, and you know, one of these days, so we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Half of our pairs right now are based on pairs that are not doing anything. Okay, so we're trying to squeeze our trades into the ones that are moving, and it'll be nice when some of those pairs actually pick some directions. Euro pound. Potentially I missed a trade on this one this week. Let's see, actually, where did we start the week? So we started the week here. Okay, there's the start of the week basically. The only trade that I think we potentially could have missed on this one is right there. Okay, that's the place where we could have been setting 786 and 886 orders. You know, nothing to say that I wouldn't have just tried to do a continuation on this one, and it would have been pretty painful. But this is the place where I would say that I potentially missed calling a trade here. So, you know, it is what it is. There's not a lot I could do about it. I missed it, and we'll see how it goes. But I think that gets us through here, guys. Any questions on anything? And just a little question: has anybody's video crashed on this session? We had some problems with that last week. I want to see if there's any crashes on the video or any questions on anything that we just went over. Awesome. You know, it's hard to set these levels trades sometimes, but I think that, you know, we're just going to have to keep pounding away and trying to find them and trying to get where we can. Yeah. So I guess if there's no questions, if everybody, you know, kind of gets what we were doing this week and there's no questions, I guess we'll call it a week and get back at it next week. All right. Well, have a good weekend if I don't talk to you. If you're in STI, I will see you in a couple hours. All right. Thanks, everybody.